Hi. Okay, let's start. I think I'm live now. Yeah, so I think the most important thing is that I want to kind of give a take and also explain a little bit on why my guild chose to go for some of the uncommon routes. So I think from the previous session, I've already explained the RAM buff, and most people understand the RAM buff, but still for those who don't and think that we're only uh, we're only we're only passing off the bosses and getting to the end because we all work together. That is so wrong. We do not. Just now, the boss died in under an hour. Can it be possible? We took days to finish the others. So there is a lot of help from the developers, and there is also a lot of misconceptions surrounding it and different trains of thought. So I just want to say that the event was, I think that it is not well planned because of the amount of disruption and chaos that there was, and this we should be holding on the developers. It is not on the players, it is really on the developers in terms of how they design this event, especially in a server where there are many different people speaking many different languages. We have to make sure, I mean, if the developers have to make sure that the event is easy to coordinate enough for everyone to work together. Yeah, so okay, some of the things that I want to talk about mainly, number one is the herd mentality. So what herd mentality is, it is the mob mentality and pack mentality, also known as the gang mentality. It describes how people can be influenced by their peers to adopt certain behaviors on a largely emotional rather than rational basis. So we actually have gone out there to tell people the reasoning behind why we go for rent, why we should do more treasure chests, but nobody listens. It's always on, who said it's wrong, so we shouldn't listen. And you agree with each other, and it's all about pride and emotions, no longer about rational thinking. Of course, there were considerably, well, a little, but there were still some people who listened, and I thought that was really good, even if we agreed to disagree. And through the event, I think my guild was being attacked really a lot by doing the wrong things or trolling or trying to make the server fail, despite our efforts to explain a lot of different viewpoints and bring some different insights to the event to help the server as a whole to benefit more from the event. Now I do really apologize if some of my guildies beat back a little bit hard. They were very agitated, and though they could have used better language, I stand by their decision to keep on pushing until the end. So, and at the end, in both phase 1 and phase 2, we were right. So phase 1, some of you who were sleeping through it thought that it was completed because we worked together. That is not true. So how it was completed is the developers probably lowered the damage required or the amount of attack that we are doing to all of the tiles. So we were able to clear it very fast. And at first, me and some of our guildies and others also thought that the way that they will get us there is by teleporting. So okay, while the method that we described is slightly off, it is not entirely untrue, because what we are talking about is that the developers will step in after they realize that our server cannot handle this amount of damage. So they did step in and they pushed us forward into the capital for phase 2. Anyway, I also want to highlight some of the comments we received, and yeah, they're here. I think it's ready to share in terms of what we are facing in this period of time. So things like other players, and these are players who were, I would say, who had kind of a high profile, who are talking about, who share a degenerate idea. And also there are people just saying, why are they sending the wrong information to everyone, but we have been trying to explain. It was not received because of this progression of prominent players saying that this is a bad idea. So there are a lot of younger players or less experienced players. What can they do? They can only listen. So when they listen and it snowballs, in the end nobody listens. So in the future, if we have this type of events again, I hope that people will ask why. What is the reason behind saying all of this? Is it truly trolling, or have I considered the full aspect of it? And also, another one is when people are explaining, I hope that everyone will truly listen. And number 3 is I hope that everyone will be able to gain a new perspective and also perhaps agree to disagree, because I think the hardest part is how can I say this, acknowledging someone else's idea might be different but still not wrong. Slowly we can work towards this. I think this is something our server needs a lot. Okay, and so I'm done with this. So yeah, but in the meantime I am also working on a treasure tile. Let me see. And I am using the infinite loop for this. Yeah, so this theme is very simple. You just have to have Mannen and Dog, and then some of the supporting ones. Yeah, you will need Koso so that she can link Momiji, and then just leave it to AFK. They will do a good job. So this can only be done when we have Momiji here. So well, hopefully she won't be taken away for a long time. Yeah, and let me continue a little bit. Okay, let me continue. So I was talking about what happened, and some of the things include can't click. Some of the things include this. So you see, if we are always dwelling on this kind of small issues, we will never be able to move ahead towards a common goal. So please consider this calling out, but please don't do this kind of things. Let me see. Give me a minute. Am I streaming properly? Oh, strange, I can't really see. Yeah, great. Okay, well, let's continue. So, okay, as I was saying, so in phase 1 and phase 2, we were right. So in phase 1, we did need the Ren buff, and we did get sort of teleported to the phase 2 by the devs helping us to clear everything at light speed. So in phase 2, yeah, the developers must step in for us. So this is in order to help to complete the basic storyline of the event by defeating Uminari. So for that one, you don't have to worry. Yeah, am I supposed to show the damage? Sorry, let me show the damage. Oh, shit. 1 minute. So sorry. This team is a good stable team to get you to I think about at least 60 million. So you get the cap of your PvE coins at 60 million. So yeah, as I was saying, in phase 2, we did say that what we can consider is some of the players, if they want to, they can go and do some treasure chests, because we already know that we will be able to defeat Uminari. This part is on the planning of the developers, and then after that, some of us can do clear more tiles first, especially the treasure ones, so that the whole server can gain more loot by unlocking more shop items. So we did not come to this conclusion based on abusing the developers. I think there is general thought and concern of people saying that, you know, if we depend on the developers, that is abusing them and abusing their goodwill, which I really have to disagree, because you need to understand that developers don't just refer to the people who are coding the game, but they refer to the entire company. So it's really all about the bigger people who are behind it, the shareholders, the top management who are giving directions, and developers and coders can't just say, oh, I want the event to fail, so let me make the server fail because the players are not working together or working the way I want them to. So it is a tiered decision where they have to make sure that they create a good game where players can win, they can attract players, because after all, there is no doubt that a server, a game is all about the profits. Yes, we provide fun, but the server provides fun to us players, but then as a player, you have to get a certain, you have to give some things back, which at times is profit. Okay, so this is a 91 million team at the moment. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so the only thing of this team, you have to link Momiji at the start, and that's it. Yeah. So going back, I think I'm not sure if it is a little bit advanced to be talking about profitability in terms of getting people to play the game, getting whales, and also getting player count. When you have player counts, the value of a game company is driven up, and the people at the very top of the game company, they are the shareholders. So when there are many players, the shareholders share value gets driven up, and that is how they make profits. So even if sometimes you're talking about things like not making profits in terms of cash flow yet, they do make profit by attracting more players, which is why developers have the responsibility to make good events that players can win, and they are not here for us to serve them in terms of meet their emotional purposes. Instead, they should be the ones creating a very good system where we can advance easily. Well, with some challenges, but we must be able to do it. They cannot set us up for failure, because if they set us up for failure, they will literally lose their jobs eventually when they are not making the server any profits. So when we started expressing these ideas to some of the players as the reason behind why we choose to go for the treasures and go for more tiles for server benefit, and the reason why we believe that at the end of the day we will be able to pass at least Uminari level is because I think we should be encouraging thinking outside the box. So let's not discourage the generation of ideas or thinking from the other side. So yes, I am a player, but I can think about more than what it means to just be one player. I can think about how we are moving forward as a server and what it means for the developers to be the developers of this game, to make it a good game. Yeah, well, I can't 100% speak their minds, but some basics of profit and companies, I think I know. Okay, and here, okay, there's one comment I quite liked. So someone asked if it's bad from a corporate and profitability standpoint if the developers let us fail the event. So okay, so if we think about it, when we fail the event, players are not going to be happy. If they are not going to be happy, they will leave the game. One thing you can say is that the server or the community is the one that makes people leave the game, but the server and the community can also be cultivated by the developers in terms of how they are creating the events, how collaborative it is, how complex it is, and how easy it is to create conflicts through a very complex game mechanism that you really need to listen to a few people, and if there are conflicting ideas, there's very little space to find a middle ground. So this one, I must say that even when we are talking about this event, our server is not the first server. There are many servers who has already gone through this event, and it was not smooth sailing. There were a lot of complaints. People did not know what they were doing, and yet our server still had very, very high boss HP, despite knowing that we are, number one, we are weaker than other servers. Number two, we have a very diverse player base who has some difficulties in terms of communication, since we have so many different languages. So I think I hope that this answers the question. If you think that it doesn't, let me know. I can explain a little bit more, but generally it is nice if you can this is in I guess profitability, some of the consumer mindsets, and also attracting players better than other games, because don't forget there are many other games we can play, and I'm sure a lot of us play a lot of different games. So with this in mind, the developers have the responsibility to make a good game, to make a good system that will not cause everyone to fight over small things, so that players will stay. Yeah, oh, 81. And I think nobody is really doing this boss, but I'm like at the far corner of the map. Yeah, I would like this treasure very much. So yes, come help me. But I do have quite a lot of rice balls, so I guess I'll stay here for a while. And we just link. Yeah, remember that the only two people you need, only two shikis that can be on skill will be your Koso and also your Mannen. That's all. The others will just be on normal attack. If you do not have Ubume G6, you can also use Kujira. So you skill Kujira once and then turn him to normal. But well, Ubume is a lot faster in terms of action, so I do recommend her. If you can afford to get a G6 ticket, that would be great. Yeah. So going back, another thing is when people ask us for our sources in terms of where do we know that developers think this way. So beyond all of the management, there is also we do have resources. So we actually asked one of our guildies. He is quite a big whale in the Chinese servers, and Chinese servers has pretty good customer service. So they actually give whales who whale like millions in Chinese RMB dedicated private customer service to answer. So actually we asked the customer service, and they clarified with us that for sure developers do not make the game do not start on the events in order to make them fail. So we triple confirmed this fact, and they did say that they will adjust the difficulty according to the server. So yeah, and she also said that even for servers with much less people than we have, they cleared it, so it should be no problem, and we have to be able to depend on the developers for some of this. Okay, I think one very important point is that just by saying we trust our hardworking developers, don't mean that we are giving up on the events. It doesn't mean that we are abusing their power. We are not abusing their help, because see, they will not be responsible for helping each and every one of us to get all of the coins and all of the treasures or clearing 450 tiles. Even though, yes, they will clear the storyline, they will help us with clearing the storyline. So what I want to encourage is for people to go beyond and think at a higher level. How can we achieve more tiles as a whole in the server? Yeah, I think what really surprised me in this event is how our players, being afraid to fail it, turn to blame other players with a herd mentality, and yeah, and how it has been encouraged somewhat by other players who I believe should share a bigger responsibility in guiding newer players. Yeah, and it has made communication very difficult, and just in the future I do hope that other guild leaders, prominent players, and also those who have the authority in some communication channels can help to better guide discussions and explore different concepts. So I hope that this experience, well, good or bad, will help to encourage everyone to think a little bit more out of the box for profit maximization, as well as thinking about how we can accept different ideas and opinions without just jumping straight into them because someone else said it's not correct. Yeah, and also want to thank my guildies for I'm really extra grateful for my guildies and also some of the other nice players, and also in some communication platforms some of the moderators were really helpful, and those who were willing to admit their mistakes. So a few more things I think I want to share. Let's see, this was the one on people saying that developers are not hired to make sure that the game is profitable. This is not correct, but if you want to say developers in terms of just coding people, like one of their key results is to code the game without failure, but at a higher level the objective would definitely be to make sure that the game is profitable. So yeah, yes, the coders don't always bear the responsibility because the direction and the strategy is set by higher management, HR, and they bear the bulk of the responsibility on the profitability and ROI, but there is no denying that all of this is for profit in the very end. Yeah. Okay. Oh, let's see. And yeah, I will leave it there. So I'll answer some of the comments. So yes, so May here is saying, yeah, that is correct. So yes, we are clients, so we have to understand that we are clients to the game, so they will not mistreat us in the form of forcing us to do events that we cannot complete. Yeah, and they are competing with other games. So imagine this: you go to KFC, you want to buy a good burger, but they are not providing a good burger. Will you still stay in KFC? Will you spend your money there? Or can you say that just because they are not making a good burger for reasons unknown, we cannot go to other fast food eateries just because it's what was that again? Abusing the food, the people preparing the food? That does not make sense. This is a very, very competitive industry, and in order to do well in it, the developers have the responsibilities to make good events. Okay, just highlight a few more. Oh yes, so there are people who say that what if the developers fight back in terms of saying, oh, these players are abusing my power, so let's give them shitty events from now on until they've earned the right to have server-wide goals again. So that is not really true, because if you do that, less players, less profits, the developers lose their jobs. Whether or not that's worth it to lose their jobs for the design, for a lack of a well-planned design that takes into consideration player goals, well, I think there is no discussion there. Yeah, and I got this funny one who said, yes, so it's nice if you can let us know that we did right, and I agree. So thank you very much. And I do want to highlight that while there were really a lot of well, players who would not who still refuse to see that we've received a lot of help and all of that, and as well as the leaders that are still leading them to do things that are not for the server's benefit, then I would like to say that I really admire one of them for giving a little bit of misdirections at the start of the game. This I really think is the bravest thing someone can do, especially at a level of popularity and with so many people following them. So admitting your mistakes is one of the hardest things to do, but I just hope maybe one day our server can get to a better place to deal with that. Yeah, so thank you a lot for helping to direct, and hopefully next time we can communicate better so that we can give clearer directions. Yeah, and I think one more I have is this is something I also want to talk about. So the negative side of the coin are when people who have certain influencing power, they decide that it is better for them, that it is tough. Yes, it is tough to say that you have a bit of misconception, you were not entirely right, but after that I'm not sure what kind of message this is supposed to bring across to say we should lose. So I hope that this kind of behavior can be reflected upon, and in the future it will be better for us to work on even clearer communication. Well, yes, the event I agree. Oh, it's 113 mil. Nice. Okay, I think, yeah, well, the event was really confusing, so actually this part I honestly hold it on the developers. So things that they could have done better is make the boss HP lower, so at least even if it's confusing, it will be easier for players to clear. They wouldn't be stuck at the same tile for days on end. And yeah. Okay, I hope I answered all the questions. So if you have more, let me know. Otherwise, I think I'll be going off to sleep after this round. Let me see. Well, I think it's very beautifully explained by May. Thanks for explaining. Ah, yeah. Yes, so those jades did come from the treasure chest. That's why I think we should do more of them. Okay, so for this build, put everyone on Kyo set. You can also put on Shadow set at the start, but for some of them, if you don't have enough Kyo sets, so for example, now Momiji's HP is still high, so I'm going for Shadow set on Ubume. And the Shuten Doji is on Azure set because you do need ops to maintain the damage output for Kyo sets. For Inugami, you can put him on Kappa so he doesn't need any crit. And I also used Shuten Bath and Ren Bath, which will help to add damage, and you're not afraid of dying if at any time because you will get revived. Yeah, make sure that your Shikis don't skill, because once they skill, it eats up your ops, and since you're in an infinite loop, you won't get more ops to provide yourself with more firepower, so make sure that all of the skills are turned off except for Koso and also Mannen, because he will need to use his leaf barrier to make sure everyone will reflect, what do you call that? Counter. Frey, are you sure you're old enough to be my dad? Yeah, so we are already crossed 60 mil. This is quite a relaxing team. I really like it. Yes, this is the infinite loop. Because the move bar don't actually move, you're just forever countering back on Momiji. And grandma, I'm not a grandma. So annoying. Oh my god. Okay, so I suppose this is the end. I'm hoping there are people who will also help me with this boss. Slowly working on this treasure tower here. I think, yeah, this is getting worked on a little bit more. We have 11 hours and I do have quite some onigiri and we are at 185 tiles. I think we should make Divine Bell. That shouldn't be an issue, but maybe maybe a little bit hard for us to hit 220 for the Jades. So just a feel of how much better our server can do. We are currently only at 185 tiles. There's 11 hours left, and the maximum we could be going, that the game is designed for going, is 450 tiles. So in terms, well, we have to get stronger as a server, or well, the developers will have to do a little bit of adjustments, because the events are ported over directly from other servers that they might not be so suitable for our community base. Yeah, and I think there is herd mentality. Okay, if you didn't hear me just now, so I just explain again. So herd mentality, it is the mentality where people gather together as a mob, and this is how they get influenced by their peers to adopt certain behavior or thoughts, where it is based on emotions, it is based on pride, it is based on not wanting to lose out, especially when you're with the majority. So they make emotional judgments that are not rational, and it's biased, and it's basically a mentality that prevents you from moving forward. It is what we're experiencing now in Heian-kyo. Yeah, so in the future, I do hope that the events will be developed better, so that all the players can collaborate better. And that's all for tonight. So good night. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know if you have any questions. I will answer you when. Yeah, I'll try to answer the ones that are reasonable, please. So if I already addressed the issue, please watch it again. Thank you. Bye bye.